Hello, peeps. I'm back. So today I am doing an episode that is based on one of your questions. So this came from one of our listeners. And if you get my weekly newsletter or you follow me on the UnMothered Instagram post, we always encourage people to write in a topic that they would like me to talk about. And so this came directly from a listener that wanted to know how you handle the confusion of trusting your mom with your feelings of in-law secrets. So I'll backtrack the story in a minute. I do want to just preface it by letting you know I am a trauma coach, but I'm not a therapist. So this information is just, we'll say it's for entertainment purposes, because if you need specific help, if this is becoming like a huge issue for you, then you're going to have to go see a professional therapist, and that I am not. Or if you just want to get help moving forward, you have an issue that's not like super abusive or dangerous kind of thing, but you're kind of in a place where you're like, I'm ready to get some answers for this. I want to move forward. I want to learn how to get to a different place in this situation with my mother. Then I'm your girl, and we can chat, and you can contact me on my website, and we can do a 30-minute consultation and see if I can help you with any of this. But I always want to preface anytime I'm talking about like dysfunctional moms or narcissistic moms or anything like that, I'm not the professional in this. I was just reading a book lately where you actually have to get diagnosed with narcissism. And I feel like a lot of people throw that word around. Now, I will say my mom definitely had narcissistic tendencies, but think I've mentioned before, she wasn't just narcissistic. She was emotionally immature. She had suspected bipolar. Like she had some major, she was an alcoholic. Like there was a lot of issues. So I don't like when people just throw around like, well, she was a narcissist. It's like, what does that mean? And when I was reading this book, there are specific things which I will probably do an episode very quickly here. This book was really interesting because it broke down symptoms of what one type of narcissistic person could be. And then they have like different diagnosis and things. So anyway, so based on that, like I'm not giving any professional advice, just want to preface it by saying this was a question. This is a person who struggles with her mom dysfunctionally. So we're going from that angle. I will talk about having just a good mom, and I'll use some examples of like what my girls and I do and don't talk about. Here's the dilemma. The mother was bad-mouthing the daughter's in-laws. And then the daughter turned around and told her husband, and was also defending her husband and his family. And then the mother turned on the daughter and got mad for not keeping the secret that she had told her because she was bad-mouthing the in-laws. Whew. I get where this is coming from. And there's two sides to this, but she wanted to know, like, what should I have done? Like, why, and what do I do? Like, my mom is mad at me because I told my husband that she was bad-mouthing his parents. I'm like, well, that never ends well. That's not a good scenario. The question then becomes, was it right for the mom to bash the in-laws to her daughter, knowing if her daughter has a healthy relationship with her husband, of course she's going to tell him. Also, she may have a healthy relationship with her in-laws, and then she's feeling the need to defend them, which is going to make the mom jealous, right? So I'm not talking about a relationship between mother and daughter where they're close and they talk about all things. Like I have that relationship with my girls, and you can just listen and talk about subjects that don't become attacking or callous or intentionally cruel. I think there's a difference. It doesn't need to be shared because there's a closeness and a trust there. So when you have a healthy relationship with your daughter, of course your daughter's going to share some things with you and be like, ugh, my mother-in-law, she did this. And you're like, yeah, it's really hard, And do you need to go into detail and start being like, she's a, blah. She's horrible. I can't believe she did this. I've watched women do that. Of course, you're going to stick up and defend your daughter, but I think you need to be really careful about how much you start bashing her extended family, because that is her family now too, because then she is going to switch it off and say like, oh, but I need to defend them too. Also, now I can't trust my mom because now I know how she actually feels. So it can turn. So I think when it's healthy, like, okay, she's struggling with her mother-in-law. I get it. Or the father-in-law or the family members. I get it. That's hurtful. You can see where the issues are. Maybe suggest something, or maybe just listen, because it doesn't need to be fixed. We all know that. That's like a big thing in our trauma coaching. You don't need to fix it. You don't need to like solve it for them. Just listen. Like, she's having a hard time. So when you are in a healthy relationship with your daughter, then you know this. You just don't feel the need to defend it. You also know that because you don't do that, your daughter's going to share more with you and be able to be safe with you, that she can share things and know that it's not going to go any further than that, and it's not going to blow up into something else. So let's dive into the why we allow this to happen and what we can do to change this from happening again. If you have a dysfunctional mother, then these are some of the things that we need to talk about. So, is this a direct hit on you as a wife? Was your mom intentionally trying to find something to get under your skin? If we look at this from a narcissistic mother or like a dysfunctional mom, she's going to be manipulative and controlling and trying to keep you on her side at all times. She'll pretend that she cares deeply for you and then find fault in other relationships, because your relationship with her has to mean the most. Like, she doesn't want to share you with anybody else. And this is extremely important to understand, because I remember, well, first of all, I'll just say she's going to try to put a wedge between you and your in-laws, because maybe you really get along with your mother-in-law, and that can't happen in her world. My mom would find fault in everything with my family, with the way I lived, with my in-laws. She called them snobs. They were in a different income bracket than her, and so therefore she was threatened. She did not like that I was entering into this different kind of world. It was threatening for her. And so it was extremely hard for her to accept that maybe, even if things weren't going perfectly, this was my family. And of course I'm going to defend them, because they are also my family, not just her. Narcissistic moms thrive on gossip also. She's going to tell you everything is okay, and then she's going to turn around and tell everyone else how wrong you are, how awful your in-laws are, how you're so disrespectful, like you've changed, you're a terrible person. She's going to make herself look perfect and tell them all the great things that she has done for you and how you're being so ungrateful, and how dare you share her secrets with your husband. You're supposed to be loyal to her. So you've heard me say this before, that when you get married, I mean, it's biblical, it's leave and cleave. Like, you cannot stay loyal to the family that you grew up in over your spouse. That can't work. You have to be loyal to your spouse first, and then in combination, you're loyal to your family. It's not really an either or, it's an addition to. So you're not saying, well, now I don't need to listen to anything that you have to say because I'm married and this is who I'm going to be with. It's like, no, Now I get to have an extended family. So now I get to appreciate my family and also appreciate this new family that has now become my family. The family you marry into is now your family. That is, and that what I mean by is you and your husband, not the extended family. You don't need to listen to every single thing your in laws tell you, and you don't need to listen to every single thing that your parents tell you. You need to find your new way with your spouse. If your mom is putting a wedge in that, that is not for your well being. It's because she's jealous, she's upset. And so, again, I say this all the time, you're going to have to set a boundary. You need to set a boundary. Listen, if I can't trust you, if you're going to badmouth my in laws, and then, of course, I'm going to go and tell my husband, like, hey, this happened. My mom's not happy. Maybe you can try to rectify that, or just, you have someone to bounce that off of. And then she turns around and gets mad at you. It's like, Mom, he's my guy. Like, I have to be loyal to him first. And if you don't appreciate that, then don't share these things with me. So moms will sabotage the relationship. If she's a dysfunctional mother, she's going to sabotage or try to sabotage this relationship if she can. The mom will undermine the daughter's intimate relationships. And, that's why I'm talking about my mom would try to bash everything, like, you think you live in this great house, but you wait, like, you're probably going to lose it. And, we came from poverty. We were welfare kids. And now I'm in this, 5-bedroom, 2-story house that's brand new that, was a dream. Like, my parents never owned anything. I had never owned a home like this. And it threatened her. And then she would like bash my in-laws for it. And so they probably paid for everything. I'm like, they didn't pay for everything. I don't know where you're getting this information. And so they don't want you to have intimate relationships with your in-laws, because then they feel like they can't have the close relationship with you anymore. And they don't want you to have that with somebody else. What they don't realize is the issue is them. You're never going to have a close relationship with them, even if you didn't have a close relationship with your in-laws, because they're getting in the way of that. It's by their own admission of like what they do is the whole reason of why they cannot have this close relationship with you, is because they don't know how to have one. They can't get out of their own way of like cruelty and revenge and aggressiveness and just this dysfunction of their thinking of like, if I hold on tighter, if I'm cruel to these other people, she's going to see, like, and then she'll have to cling to me. She'll get scared and she'll have to come to me. It's like a fear-based kind of love. That's never gonna work. The bottom line is that you can't trust your mom. That's what the bottom line is. She's not going to be your safe person. You're going to have to be really careful about what you say and how you share your life with her. And if you don't, she's slowly going to start trying to destroy your marriage or your relationship with your extended family members. The other thing she's going to do is let other people know that they can't trust you. So in this question, the girl said that her mom got mad at her. She's very mad at her right now because she defended her in-laws and she told her husband what she had said about the in-laws. But that shouldn't have even been a thing. Like if you're speaking ill about someone and you have a healthy relationship with your daughter and you guys can talk it out and be like, yeah, they just really made me mad because they did this and this and this. And then you guys can talk it out and know that that's okay and you're safe. Then that didn't have to go any further than where it was. She didn't have to feel the need to go to her husband. She was feeling unsafe with her mom saying these things. And so then she was like, I need to go to my safe place, talk to my husband, and then defend my in-laws. Cause like, obviously she's not agreeing with that. If she agreed, this wouldn't even be an issue. She'd be like, yeah, they are a-holes. Like, they did this happened, whatever. And then you laugh about it and you move on and it's fine and everybody's okay. But that's not what's happening. And so She wants to try to put the wedge in between your family and your marriage, and you need to be careful about that. If you can't trust your mom with personal things, with girl talk, with mother daughter talk, then you're going to have to put a boundary there. And remember, your mom is manipulative and she's dysfunctional. And so you cannot trust her. She is not your safe person to be talking about personal things with that can trigger her into a place where she's going to create chaos for you and your family, your married family. So we have to be careful about letting them in. And I know that that's kind of hard. You want to maybe have that relationship with your mom. It should be that way. It's nice when it's that way. One of the sweetest things about my girls getting older is that does become more of a friendship where you get to talk to your girls about personal things and share things together and your struggles together. And it's a beautiful friendship that forms, and it's a trusting friendship. But when that isn't the case, you have to be able to protect your married family and know that this is something that you're not going to be able to talk to your mom about. So what I would say is, when your mom starts gossiping about something that you think she's going to use against you or that you don't want to be a part of, you're going to have to tell her, I'm uncomfortable with this conversation and I'm going to walk away. Or we need to change the subject. If she doesn't change the subject, you're going to have to say, I'm walking away, or I'm hanging up the phone, or wherever you are. Even if you have to get up from a restaurant, Mom, I'm not. And if she doesn't respect that, if she keeps talking about it, Mom, I'm going to get up and I'm going to walk away. And it's better if you shut it down than get to a place where you are right now, where she's mad at you because you shared the information and then she feels like she can't trust you. You don't trust her. It's just a whole thing. You have to know where you can trust her and where you can't. I think that's the final say in this whole thing is there was a trust issue that was broken all the way around. She shared something with you and then you broke the trust by sharing it with your spouse, and then you also defended them. And so there was a trust broken between both of you. This is going to be a stress relief for both of you if you stop doing this. So this is where dysfunction gets even crazier and where families are broken up even more, is that people keep doing the same things when you know she has just told you she's not your safe person. She's telling you something in secret that actually is putting stress on your marriage because now you feel the need to defend it and you want to share. So if you can't have those conversations with her, make it really clear to her, we're not going to have these conversations at all because it's not safe. Share those things with somebody else. She can share those things with some other friend that she has, but not with you. You don't need to hear bad things about your in-laws especially if you have a good relationship with them. You don't need that to get tainted. Now, the only thing I'll preface with that is if it's something that you need to know, if it's something that is dangerous or something that, you need to know this about your in-laws, then sure, share that with me and then I'll figure out like what to do with it. So I think just knowing that, hopefully that helps you of just from here on out. I don't know how you can solve this problem in particular. Everything has kind of come out to a head. And so now you just have to let things lie a little bit and know, she's upset and you both broke a trust. And so now where do we go from here? So this is where boundaries get set in, and also knowing what is safe with her and what isn't. When you can figure that out, it's going to be easier for both of you to know when you know what kind of conversations you can have and what kind of conversations you can't have. And that way, there's no hard feelings between the families, and that keeps your family intact. If her intention is to break up family, then you have a whole nother thing you need to think about as far as boundaries and like how much you want her in your life. Because if she is desperately trying to create chaos in your life, those are kind of no contact situations. And so looking at everything as a whole to see, was it done intentionally? Was it with cruel intention? Or was it just a one off or it was a mistake? When you can figure those things out, then you can find a way to still bridge the gap of having this family that, isn't always perfect, but can be lived in, or is it really not perfect and very stressful? And then that's where you need to set the boundary line really hard. I hope this helped you. That was a really good subject because in laws and mothers and all of that is a really hard place to be, especially if your mom is coming from a dysfunctional past. It's hard to share her daughter with other people. And so I hope that some of these answers helped you and that you can kind of think about this situation individually and see where that can fit into where you can live like a purposeful life and something that's in a calm way so that you're not having a mom disrupt everything around you and not getting too dramatized about everything, but just really being able to sit back and kind of evaluate the whole situation and know that in the long run, you will make this work. And your biggest thing is to keep your family, your married family, intact. All right. So until next time, I'll see you later, peeps. Bye.